Well, this is going to be the first edition of a brand new series that I'm going to be doing after every Jets game. The 3 plays that you might not remember but affected the outcome of the game. Let's talk about it. And well, welcome back once again to New York Sports WickerMedia. I am watching K99. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. If you enjoy what you're watching, please take time to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and share it with a friend. I appreciate all your support. I appreciate the time that you spend watching these videos. Thank you very much. Now, the 3 plays from this game that you might not remember. So I was in attendance for this 24-9 defeat to the Baltimore Ravens. Very painful defeat as we in the stands were pretty much getting soaked for most of the game, and it just felt like one long, dragged-out loss. Even though it wasn't a blowout the entire game, you just kind of had a feeling the Jets were not in sync, and it was going to be very, very difficult for them to compete in this game, let alone win it. And that is basically what happened. So, but 3 plays that I wanted to talk about. Now, we're not going to talk here about touchdowns. We're not going to talk about turnovers. Those speak for themselves. So, one play that I want to talk about, second quarter, 10:57 to go. This was a 3rd down for the Jets. They're driving pretty deep into Baltimore territory, just outside the red zone. And Flacco is focused on Elijah Moore to his right, who's being covered pretty tightly. He throws the ball in that direction. It's incomplete. But if Flacco had looked to his left side, he would have seen Michael Carter coming out of the backfield, and he could have gotten some yardage, possibly a 1st down, and extended the drive. As it stands, it resulted in a 4th down, and that's why when Greg Zuerlein, Legatron himself, comes in to kick a field goal, which, as we all know, missed. So that's play number 1. Play number 2, now we go to the 3rd quarter. After the Jets stopped the Ravens on 6 plays, feeling pretty good. The Jets are trailing at this point. But, second half is starting. If they score early, they could do some damage here. So the first play of the second half was a sack, loss of 5 yards. Just one of the many unacceptable plays that this offensive line had. And the Jets really can't move it much farther at all on that drive. And that was the drive where Braden Mann punted the ball 20 yards to his left as pressure was coming from his right side. He could feel the pressure. He tried to punt it to the left. He tried the corner punt. It absolutely did not work out. And that 20-yard punt gave Baltimore just 44 yards to go down the field. And, of course, that they did that. They scored the touchdown, and it's 17-3. But now we go to play number 3. Later in the 3rd quarter, there's 3:11 left. This was the fumble forced by DJ Reed while Baltimore was driving. DJ Reed had a good game. He had an interception. He forced the fumble, knocked the ball loose from Mike Davis's hands. And Michael Clemens, we all love Michael Clemens, and I pray he doesn't see this video because I know he could hunt me down. But Clemens had a chance to fall on the ball. He misses it. Mike Davis recovers it. Extends the drive for Baltimore. The next play was the 55-yard touchdown pass to Rashad Bateman. That made it 24-3, and that was, at that point, you knew. At that point, the stadium never made any noise again, and it felt like M&T Bank Stadium in Baltimore pretty much for the rest of the game. So those are the 3 plays that stuck out to me. Now, I did want to mention one other thing in this video. I'm not going to get into all the specifics of, benchings and things like that, or some of the other things. But this September losing streak is just, it's so unacceptable. The Jets have now lost 13 straight September games. Their last September win was Sam Darnold's Monday night debut in Detroit, Michigan, when the Jets blew out the Lions. Since then, they've lost 13 September games, but you know what? It gets even better. Listen to this stat. In those losses, the Jets have been outscored 329 to 140. 329 to 140. No matter who the coach is, no matter who the quarterback is, no matter where they play the game, this team starts slow. And they take their fans right out of it. And I'll tell you, we were loud in that stadium. We were ready. We sang the national anthem. We were there on time. We were chanting JETS, 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 Jets from the hangar. I can tell you, us and 80,000 people, we were ready to go. Even just Michael Carter's first down on the Jets' first drive, that was enough for us. We were thrilled. We were excited. We were pumped because we are so desperate to grab onto any little bit of hope, any bit of hope that will tell us that we have just a competent football team. I didn't even say a great football team. I didn't say a contending football team. Just competent. The Jets haven't had a competent team in 6 years, and they haven't had a legitimately really good team in 11 or 12 years at this point. And the Ravens are, all due respect to the Ravens, they have a fantastic coach. I think one of the 2 or 3 best coaches in the league. They have a lot of stability. They've established the culture that they have for a reason, and it's taken a lot of time to do it. They are what I want the Jets to be one day. That's who the Baltimore Ravens are. And hey, I'm glad they played the AFC East in their next 3 games. I hope they beat them down too. I really do. But now the Jets are on to Cleveland. We'll have plenty to say as the week goes on, but I wanted to talk about that September streak as well. They've got 2 chances to break it, Cleveland and Pittsburgh. And now Pittsburgh has lost T.J. Watt, most likely for the season. Najee Harris has hurt his foot. Who knows what his injury status is going to be. So I'll tell you what, as bad as things may have looked yesterday, in certain parts of the game, there were bright spots. I thought the linebackers played pretty well. The run defense was much better than I expected it to be. It's really about the offensive line, especially. And also, how are we using this personnel? Joe Flacco versus Mike White, whatever. It doesn't make any difference to me. They're 2 different style of quarterbacks that are both incredibly limited in different ways. But if this offensive line can't run block for Breece Hall and Michael Carter, it's game, set, match. If Joe Flacco is throwing 59 passes again, you may as well just close up shop. Because the last time that happened was the infamous Christmas Eve game. When Mark Sanchez threw 59 passes, thanks to Brian Schottenheimer's play calling. Victor Cruz still going down the sideline, past Kyle Wilson, past Eric Smith. Again, the Jets, I don't care what anybody tells me, they have never recovered from that Christmas Eve loss. Never. 59 passes. You know what? The more I think about this, there is talent on this team. There are legitimately talented players on this team at different spots. But when you have this many drop passes, when you have this many missed blocks, when you have kicks that are going this far awry, when you have these types of problems, there weren't so much penalties. I'll give them credit for that. Very few penalties. But when you have fumbles, things like that, it's got to come down to coaching. It is about overall approach. When your players are, in my mind, underachieving, and I think there's quite a few who are, it comes back to the coaches. I am not going to call for anybody to be fired. I don't like to go that way. I'm not going to call for anybody to be fired. But this coaching staff is on notice. From now until the rest of the year, prove to us, Robert Saleh, Jeff Ulbrich, Mike LaFleur, everybody else on that staff, Brant Boyer even, he's been here a long time too. Prove to us that you are the men to lead this franchise back to relevance and ultimately contending for a Super Bowl. That is what we want. This year is your chance to prove it. No matter how young you are, you have to prove it now. This season, you're on notice. And I'll see you back here with more content from you know where. The Wicker Chair.